Hello, once again. My name is Kyle Landon. Welcome to the album commentaries. Today we will be doing Selfish Animal. And I've been thinking a lot of thoughts. I have some notes written down here before we even start the album. This is going to be like 2 hours long, so get ready. um, the carpet here in my house just got cleaned, so everything is wet. And it is like, I don't know, like 95 outside right now. My room has the worst insulation and just airflow of the entire house. So it is just unbearable in here. But all my doors are open, all my windows are open. This whole today, I'm home alone right now. If you've been watching my videos or looking through my comments, you might know that I definitely am not a big fan of being heard. And that's a big problem. I have to be able to speak and speak loudly and clearly and confidently, regardless of anyone who might hear me in the kitchen next door, in the living room, and the other door. It's a weird setup the way my room is, but we have thin walls, thin doors, and I just have to improve at that. And even though I'm home alone, having all the windows and doors open, I think is going to help me step further and further into that discomfort that I ultimately just have to get over with because it's all in my head, and who cares if anyone hears me, regardless of whatever it is that I'm saying. So I've been listening to the Devin Townsend podcast. He's been doing or he was back when COVID first started. He did a little podcast per album that he'd done over the course of his career. He has like 30 albums. He only did like half of it or whatever. He didn't do every album, but yeah, that was something he was doing to help people and to pass the time. And he would just talk about. I was re-listening to it because I listened to it back when they first came out, but now it's 2024. I was re-listening to it the past couple of days, and I noticed that he has so many stories per album, so many people involved. I went to this play. We worked at this studio and this studio, and I was in Spain, and I did this over here, and I met this guy and this guy who's still great friends with to this day, and this guy, and I don't have any of that. All these albums, all these releases, all what, nine releases total, not counting contents. All of this, and I have no people that I met, no people that helped out, no people that I collaborated with. I have no places that I went, no traveling, no stories. Just every single story on all of these albums is I sat at home at my dad's house in my room and I made a bunch of songs. That's what it is for all of these things. And I have the fractals going here because Devin Townsend was talking about online fractal generators, and I looked it up, and I'm like, ooh. So yeah, my next album. I have too many albums, and I love them all. But I need stories for the next album. I need to not be living here. It's summer starting. This is my last summer here. I'm 27. I moved here when I was 18. Nothing's happened. This is my last summer here. No matter what, I will be out of here. And I gotta take these steps, you know? I gotta just get over the paralysis that I have with emailing people and with just contacting people, looking people up, making connections, networking. It's fundamental to human nature to help each other and to ask for help, and I just refuse at every turn. And I get scared and I get self-conscious, but I know what I want and I know what I believe I deserve. I can definitely make, through music and through entertainment, at least the equivalent of a $20 an hour job. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. And to do that requires me to start emailing people, start DMing people, start making content that might not be that might come off as cringe. It might come off as embarrassing. Because at the end of the day, who cares? It doesn't matter. If it gets eyes on me, if it gets ears on me, not that I'll be super desperate, but, you know, these are things for me to figure out. Anyway, the other thing I was thinking about with these fractals going on right now is that I'm a straight edge person. I've always been a straight edge person. I have zero experience with ever getting high, drunk, etc. I've never ever done anything of the sort in my 27 years. And I've been thinking about courage and confidence and self-esteem, and I've been realizing, or maybe I could be dead wrong, but I think a lot of people use that to cope with embarrassment and self-esteem issues. You know, I could imagine if I got high, I probably would be a lot more willing to make some embarrassing TikTok or email some people. Assuming I don't know what being high is like, but assuming that I don't just eat chips or whatever they do. Or maybe, you spend the day emailing because after you're done sending out all your embarrassing, desperate emails that, at least you can drink and you'll completely forget about it. Or you'll drink before and you'll get all loosened up and then it'll be fine. I don't have any of that. So I guess that kind of comforts me that if I think about it that way, again, I could be dead wrong, but yeah. Handicapped myself. I got to work harder and I got to deal with the stress and the self-esteem issues. But the confidence, yeah. And another thing, I was saying in the previous commentaries that this is all going to be like Patreon exclusive stuff. Send me $5 a month and you'll get access to the commentaries. But listening to the Devin Townsend podcast, which is all just up on YouTube for free, it made me realize that maybe I should have these out for free for everybody. So maybe ignore the Patreon stuff and the accusations of you finding a free link. So I'll just have to find a couple of other things to make exclusive to the Patreon that maybe aren't so important. Because there definitely are some young artists out there in the future listening to this who may not have been able to if it was locked behind a paywall. So yeah, last thing on my notes before we actually start Selfish Animal, which is an hour and 20 minutes long. I'm starting to realize that making YouTube content is like inherently intoxicating and dangerous to me as I currently am. And what I mean by that is that the neat thing about YouTube, especially compared to, I guess it's kind of the same on like TikTok or whatever, but the thing about YouTube is that it's all algorithm based. You post a video and then YouTube is just going to shove it out to some people in their feed. And it's up to them to click it, but you don't have to actually make any sort of pitch. You don't have to make any... Like, imagine how different YouTube would be if there was no algorithm and every YouTuber had to, like, submit their videos to, like, YouTube review websites and YouTube journalists and stuff like that. And that, the same way musicians have to, the same way, I don't know what else, whoever else has to do that sort of thing, authors or whoever. And it's because I've amassed at this point 3,000 subscribers without having to actually do anything super out of my comfort zone. I just have to make the video and post it and then hope people show up, and then they have been showing up. It's reinforcing that bad behavior of not getting out of my comfort zone and not contacting anybody, not making any sort of connection with anybody, because I'm just kind of gambling and winning, but it's not gonna last, or it could, but I don't know, I'm rambling. But yeah, I have to make that concession. I have to gain that power to be able to give people what I make and tell them, hey, check it out. You might like it. This is so pretty, the fractals. Well, I just can't hold back anymore. No more holding back. Anyways, let us go here. All right. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay. Here's Milk Drop. This is an excellent visualizer program that reacts to the music live, as you will see. I just figured I might as well have something else to look at, even though we got the album cover here, we got the lyrics here, everything. You got the spectrogram up here, but just improving on everything. So why not? I guess we'll talk about the title, Selfish Animal, and the cover first. And just the history before I started. This is all like 2017. A little bit of later 2016, but mostly 2017. Yeah, just finished Gold Shadows. I forgot this until I did the Gold Shadows commentary. Selfish Animal is a line off of a Ghost of You, and I completely forgot that until I listened to it again. But yeah, I guess that's just how I was feeling at the time. I was starting to spend time with my friends a lot more. I got a car, thanks to my dad, not because I was working or anything. And we started spending a lot of time, and my friends didn't have cars. And I was starting to feel like we would go hang out. We'd go to the arcade, go to restaurants or whatever, and I always had this sinking feeling in the back of my head, like I should be home working. I should be home making music. I got music to make. I got this art. I'm an artist. Even though I genuinely loved spending time with my friends, I just always had this in the back of my head. This self-loathing, this I should be here, I shouldn't be here. I'm getting used. I'm for my car. I'm not getting used for my car. Just that's it. That's the whole story of this, is just self-loathing. And yeah, it's a very, very negative album. And I get mad looking at the text now because I definitely could have squished. There's too much space between the lines. I didn't know at the time that there's the tools in Photoshop to make the text squish closer together. Whatever. And the picture is a composite of two different photos I took. I just took. This is like a glass, like a measuring cup or something, that I took a picture of, like in front of a light, because I just figured why not. And then I superimposed like hands praying, which I guess at the time was just to like reference a desperate prayer at the end of the album. Yeah, it's weird looking, but I just feel I wrote this in my notes before that you can look at, and I feel I still agree with it. It's the right colors, it's the right shapes, even if it's not really anything. Like you get, why does it say Milk Drop? Just gotta drop the name every once in a while. It's the right shapes, it's the right colors. It doesn't really mean anything, but it just fits for me. Maybe you could see it as, I'm trapped inside some glass prison and I'm praying to get out, but I don't know. Anyway, let's start it. Soul Lapse, track number 1. So this is just me chopping up a sample, the same sample from Dragging Change and some other songs, of an old song I wrote and recorded back in high school. That Mayan, my Mayan. The line is, I live in my own palace. So I'm saying my own. But yeah, I just chopped it up. I threw it in the fruity slicer or whatever, and I just played with the different pieces, and I made something that I thought was pretty. I remember I posted this on SoundCloud, and I got one comment from some guy who I guess had listened to a Gold Shadows and was I don't know how he felt about it, but he heard this next and I was like, this is so different from what you did before. And then Bismuth came up and he left a comment. Oh, never mind. Yeah, this part's a little bit quieter just to this is a great intro, I think. It's nice. Maybe it plays into the whole selfish animal theme by just you just retreading the same things just over and over again. Going back to that sample again. And here is the choir. I've never done something like this before. But again, I think it fits. I don't know what made me decide to put it here and why I put it with the first part that just happened, but overall I enjoy it. There was a girl on my mind at this point. Same girl from Ghost of You. I was sort of in communication with her. And yeah, I don't know. I just wrote what I was feeling at the time. I didn't really know what to do. And I just felt like I just kept repeating myself over and over again. But here we are, Bismuth. I posted a song, I forget what, on Reddit and from Gold Shadows, and they told me it was one of them threads where you have to give other people feedback so that you could get feedback required, you know. And someone told me there's that line comes up again in the Selfish Animal song. But yeah, he said the vocals are cool, the production is amateurish or something like that, and that made me so mad because I knew my production is not amateurish. So I made this. This is the first thing I made of 2017, and this is the first thing I made after I read that comment. So this is just total spite. The drum kit I made from I'm not gonna say from scratch, but the drum kit is all original sounds that I had compiled together and whatnot. The whole thing is tuned down. Like it's like, I don't think it's 432. It might be 432. But it's something like that. It's not 440. I don't know why it just ended up that way. But anyway, yeah, stuck in the past. Can't make it last. Just total self-loathing and just disgust for myself. It's called Bismuth because I was just looking up stuff and I found out what bismuth was or how it looks, and it's very colorful yet very angular mineral or whatever it is, element. Just look up bismuth and it's this rainbowy and it's colorful and shiny and it's you know, it's got that like gasoline on the floor type of color effect going on. That's why it's called bismuth, because I feel like the whole synth. It's so fast, but it's just colorful. And it's synthetic at the same time, angular, you know, bismuth. So yeah, back in 2017, I was having trouble getting out of bed. In 2024, I'm still here. I think the song more or less describes itself. But yeah, this album was where I started writing everything with the piano, all the vocal lines. And this choir right here, that is totally inspired off of Deep Sea Zone, Act 1, I think, from Sonic Roboblast 2. Towards the end, these big choirs come up, and I love it. I love that song. I don't know what waiting for bismuth to drop means. Or maybe it's shattered and lost. Yeah, just having all these colors sort of explode everywhere. And the gold scattered and tossed. Sort of me trying to abandon gold shadows the ways I was thinking. Been taken. Real strong opening, I think. I love this song. Next is Sundown. This is one of my all-time favorites. This song's cool because it's just a made-up story. It's not like a metaphor. It's not. Oh, there's a whoo. I wanted that. Ooh. Well, basically, this whole song is a story. It's just this. It's not a metaphor. Did I just say all that? Anyway, it's basically about this world where like the moonlight kills you. It burns your flesh. It destroys you. So we have to hide from it, basically. But there's like other dudes hunting other people down, but you can. There's a certain flower you can make like a crown of roses and put it on your head, and the flower will protect you from the moon. This is one of my favorite choruses. I love that the drums are just gone. It's just weird synth going on. But yeah, that I wanted that to be like sort of a battle call for the people that are hunting the protagonist here. Like that's sort of like, you know, they go ooh from far away and you hear it and you're like, oh no, they're coming for me. Something about the guitar and the way I used it reminded me of the song Dead Body Breathe. It came a million years later. They both have sort of this backwater country type of vibe going for them. Yeah, I just wanted the there's some wind noise going on, like a default MIDI wind. That M1 piano. Yeah, I love the build of tension, the climax. I think I did a good job here. Yeah. Yeah, this album, the drums have a very particular sound, and it's kind of all over this album and Margot, because they were written at the same time. I don't know if I said that yet on here, but not like this. Bad ending. But pretty much all the drums across this whole album were processed in the same way through battery, which has this sort of, you can like add reverb, and there's a certain reverb IR impulse that I would just add to the entire drum kit, and it doesn't even really sound like reverb, but it just makes everything sound way different, and like every single drum on this whole album is that, which I appreciate because it sort of gives a unifying sound, which I feel I don't always do in my music. But yeah, Catch and Release. This is a classic. I'm gonna keep saying that. Yeah, this is just about, I went fishing with my dad, deep sea fishing, and some of our friends and family, and it was fun. And the only thing I caught that day was oh goodness, cars, motorcycles outside. Only thing I caught was a baby scorpion fish, which is illegal, I think, and poisonous. So I had to throw it back, but I looked up. I was just researching fishing later, and I found out, oh yeah, if you go deep sea fishing, you catch a real deep fish and you pull it up real quick, it like explodes internally because of the change in pressure, which of course makes sense. But even if you're playing for game and just catching a fish to release them, it's still, you could permanently jack up a fish that way. And they yeah, something about the swim bladder. And like their equilibrium, they'll have like organs that internally explode inside of them because of the pressure change, and they'll just swim in circles real close to the surface and then get picked up by a bird. So yeah, not much subtlety or artistic stuff going on here. It's just fish. What happens to fish? The word fish is on the album cover, if you look at it that way. Fish Animal. That would be a real good name for an album. Fish Animal. But yeah, this instrumental is just, I don't know, I just wrote it. Come on, Kyle. Be entertaining. Have stories. But like I said earlier, I don't got no stories. I mean, that was probably the only story. We'll see. I'm just talking. Alcatraz, okay. So, if you've listened to the Displaced commentary, then you'll already know that I quit. Okay, I have to not hold things back. I have to be full. I have to be honest. I have to say whatever I gotta say and not sugarcoat things or speak in code. I gotta say it. So this song is about porn. It's a lot more artistic than Grease for You is, but it's definitely sort of coming from this place of almost like shame towards actors and actresses who participate in that sort of thing. Which I understand. We got nowadays. I'm much older. We gotta do what we gotta do. We like what we like, etc. Do your thing, as long as you're not hurting nobody. But I at the time, and sort of, I mean, I quit at this time. Not that I was super addicted or nothing, but I just, over time, I started to develop this feeling that like something about this is wrong. Something about this is holding me back. And I haven't gone back to it since. This is 2017, but I don't really think it's done anything to change my life or save me or anything. I think it's made me more attracted to my girlfriend, who's already a very, very, very attractive lady, but that's pretty much the only plus I can give. But again, I was never addicted like that. So who am I to say anything? But anyway, I love this song instrumentally. This mix was brutal and still is. I don't know, I jacked something up somewhere along the line, but it's a real powerful song to me. The way it builds, the guitars, something smooth about it. I love when I have guitars in a song and it kind of sounds like I actually know how to play, because I don't. So I gotta not be saying that. Affirmations. I do know how to play guitar. But yeah, the build-up of the strings and the guitar solo coming up right here took me a while, but even though it's not complicated at all, I love it's a very confident song. I love that. I appreciate that, because I'm not a very confident person at all. I'm trying to figure it out, but this song feels like it was made by someone confident. Yeah, the drums are weird, and it's a very rainy type of song to me. That string, that was originally going to be a vocal line, a vocal melody, but I was like, I can't do that. Not in a convincing, interesting way. But yeah, this is, I guess, yeah, there's some acoustic guitar. I never use my acoustic guitar. I've had it for years. I still got it back there in the corner, but I had to use it somewhere. And this is a nice moment. I love when it's just voice and guitar, this and that, you know. Something I noticed back in my porn watching days was the ring lights. When you could see that ring light in the lady's eye as she's doing her job. And now you see it all over the place. It's you watch anyone on YouTube, they're gonna have that ring light. You're gonna see that ring in their eyes. But back then, that's what I associated it with. So that cold won't look in the camera, shame in your eyes. Just thinking about stuff like that. But yeah, I love that song. Oracle Bones. Okay, I made a video for this, but it's embarrassing. So I'm not gonna, it's just, I taped my camera to the ceiling. Not even my camera, I taped my phone to the ceiling. I hit record and I taped it to the ceiling, and then I just sat on my floor and I looked at my old yearbook. And I tore some pages that had me in out of it. It's just embarrassing. But this instrumental, that instrument, dope. It used to be the M1 piano, and I changed it because Kendrick's Humble came out, and it sounded very similar. So, yeah, you know, if you don't get your idea out there, then someone else will. Anyway, as for what this song is about, I have no idea. I was just reading about stuff on Wikipedia. I read something about oracle bones and how there's some rituals that use bones to see the future or whatever, and I just thought, I'll write something about that, I guess. Predicted marrow claws. Where am I? On the lyrics. Yeah, back then a lot of my lyrics were I would just write ideas in my Google Keep, which I recommend. Hopefully Google never gets rid of it the way they do all their other services. But I just write random ideas throughout the day whenever they come to me. And then when I'm like, okay, time to record, I just sort of just go through it and just pick and choose random stuff together and then make lyrics out of that. So yeah, so stuff like talking about predicting the future with bones, but then having something about my kids and my blood type. I wouldn't have come up with that all together naturally. It's definitely the result of me just sticking a bunch of notes together. Yeah, John Peel died. I don't remember when, but yeah, it felt like all my favorite artists had a Peel session at some point. Hopefully I can get the Nardwuar interview at least. Okay, promise. Sorry, this one's good. This instrumental is actually from 2015. It predates a lot of Gold Shadows material. I just didn't know what to do with it, but eventually I did. But yeah, a whole song is about money, my relationship with money, and I don't know if you believe in affirmations and manifestation and this and that, but if there's even a slight bit of truth to that, then me being broke for years and years can probably be attributed directly to this song. They say you have to have a positive view of money. You have to be appreciative of money and not hate it and not hate those who have it. Yeah, this is true. My dad was trying to set me up with something. I don't even remember what, but yeah, just constantly avoiding things, which probably, honestly, that I can't think of any job that would have truly served me other than actually being proactive with promoting myself. So I definitely would have been somewhere a lot different if I had done that instead of just hoped for the Bandcamp algorithm to pick me. This part of the instrumental is new, but that first minute or so was original from 2015. I remember that the turquoise trees. That was a dream I had. Nothing too crazy. I just had a dream where I was in a forest and all the trees were blue. More guitar here. I need to just make a whole guitar album. Guitar is my first thing, and like, I feel like it's what I'm most connected to. But I don't know. I lack the confidence and the skill in it that I want. I want to be doing like Devin Townsend deconstruction type of stuff, and I cannot sweep pick. I cannot solo adequately, but I can write decent stuff. But I'll get there eventually. I got plenty of time. This is a cool part with the guitars and everything. Let me in my side, fuck. Psych. I should make an album where there's like a reference to fishing in every song. Fisherman. Catch and release. Standard and Poor's. I remember looking up what that was. I didn't know what Standard and Poor's was. I didn't know it was the S&P 500. It is that, right? I'm not, because I've heard of the S&P 500. That means Standard and Poor's, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Not crazy. Anyway, Rats and Roaches. Another classic. This song, it feels like a precursor to the Soul Strains off Dead Body Breathe, and that they both give me this sort of like industrial, like in a literal sense, industrial factory. Like there's like big boilers and like steam shooting out everywhere, and everything is like metal, but also red. Just a red metallic surface everywhere. So I get that feeling. I just feel, and I can see the steam shooting out with every and the valves and the everything like that. As for the vocal, the lyrics, another story. Just at this time we had a lot of roaches in the house. And we also had a rat in the house, which I'd never really dealt with that was my first time having a rat in the house. That sucked. He chewed through a little tube behind the fridge, and it was leaking water constantly, and I had to fix that because my dad couldn't fit back there. But yeah, so I had rats and roaches on the mind all the time, so I decided to make a story about them getting tortured and using that torture energy as a viable source of fuel. I flowed here. Just the way the building energy. Excellent. See, I gotta be like this in my emails to people. Yeah. That's abuse. I should have said Green Hills there, just to reference Sonic for no reason. But yeah, the idea of like a mad scientist, but he's also like doing like weird spiritual stuff too at the same time is an interesting concept to me. Like that's like a whole album worth of stuff right there. Someone who's like very, very talented and inclined scientifically and practically physically, but also like he's like trying to harness demon magic and stuff like that at the same time too. That's an interesting concept to me. But yeah, at the end he gets betrayed. I didn't mean for it. Big Moon has nothing to do with the ending of Rats and Roaches, but it works. Yeah, when the rats and roaches beat the mad scientist to it, I should come up with a name for him. But yeah, this song is just about like Majora's Mask. I've always, for some reason, had listened to that snare, or not the snare, the hi hat, the way it goes left and right, forward and backward. I love that. But this is just a Majora's Mask song. If you don't know the it's a Zelda game where the moon is falling, and it has a big scary face on it. And I was never scared of the. I was never scared of the moon itself, and that game didn't really scare me that much playing it as a kid. But I've realized one day, and maybe it was influenced by the game, but like the idea of seeing like giant celestial bodies moving in real time with my own eyes freaks me out for some reason, and it's totally irrational. But like, just imagine like it's nighttime, you're looking out at the full moon. It's a beautiful, bright full moon, and then like you see it start moving, not necessarily towards you, but just like from left to right or whatever, and you can like see it like just moving really, really fast. That would be freaky. So I guess that's what this whole thing is sort of about, is that idea of like watching clouds move doesn't scare me, but yeah, it's mostly like the moon or like just anything big up in the sky that shouldn't be moving that fast. Like, you know it's moving, but it's so far away you can't really see it. But if you did see it, you know, if you just saw the moon just growing, what do you even do? I recorded this, I'll sleep through all my sentence. I recorded it laying down, because why not? I recorded it laying down so that I would talk about it in a commentary someday. Yeah, it's a cool song overall. I got the scary, spooky vibe. Ooh, Tulpa. I hadn't seen Twin Peaks: The Return yet, but I have since seen it and I love it. But this idea of Tulpa was more based on like absolute psychos on the internet who are giving themselves schizophrenia so that they could see their imaginary friends. I got scared a little bit by that right there. That's a good noise though. It's just, what is that? Look at the spectrogram. I should change the color on this. Yeah, that's gross. Maybe I'll just change presets every once in a while. Let's see. Ooh. So yeah, this whole thing is about just what would it be like to be that person that like made an imaginary girlfriend or something. I was and still am on my no profanity stuff, but I wanted it to be very obvious what I was saying here in this first line. I pronounced it's colander. I pronounced it wrong. Whatever. I'd never use that word. It's a strainer. Colander. It's a strainer. I don't know why I said colander. I have no idea why I said that instead of strainer. Maybe just the syllables needed to match. I don't know. Your brother looks more than pretty cute. Because, you know, sometimes a girl be pretty and then you meet their family and they all look the same, and what are you supposed to do? Yeah, there's a couple of references here to a little, I don't want to say kinks. I'm not that type of guy, but ooh, the text-to-speech, yeah. I don't know where that idea came from. I just decided to do it and it worked, so I did it. Just the built-in FL Studio text-to-speech, which has the whisper preset in there. But yeah, stuff like I won't give all my secrets, but the tank top, I do enjoy a woman in a tank top for some reason. Yeah, this is my gun. There are many like it, but this is mine. That's what that's. Why did it say milk drop again? Yeah, those may look the same. This one's mine. Yeah, so this ending part, sort of the idea of the dude dying in like a police shootout or something because he's so jacked up in the head, and then eventually getting killed and then like there's this maggot in his brain, and like sort of his tulpa, his imaginary friend, is sort of manifested as a maggot eating his brain. Cool stuff. Anyway, another song that probably set me on the wrong path, Go to Work. This is very there's no I can appreciate this because there's like no artistic stuff going on. There's no obfuscation, if that's how you pronounce it. It's just very clearly, I don't want to go to work. No, mommy, not daddy. I don't want to go to work. Don't make me go to work, please. Please, I want to play Dark Souls. Please don't make me go to work. So that's what this song is. But I do enjoy this song. Hearing the keys on here made me want to stop this commentary and go write a song. But we're not even halfway through. Man. Yes, you can't be saying things like that, because what happens when it comes true? This is just a fun line. Why are my doctors fat? It's true. Like, I'm trying to like have something to say about the instrumental here, but it's just I came up with an idea, probably that, and just kept building on it with no care. Yeah, again, lots of songs that just build intention. I appreciate that. I don't know if I pronounced that right either. Sycophants? Is it sycophant? Yeah. Man, I was 21 writing this. Is that right? Goodness. 22, right? Hey, that came true. I did have a family member pass when I was 22. So, you know, when you see these rappers and they're rapping about how rich they are, there's a reason. Even if they aren't rich at first, the things you say, you be careful what you say. Be careful what you bring in the universe. I've brought a lot of nonsense that I'm trying to get myself out of. I feel like there's no way you can like believe in music and the beauty and the power of music, of wiggly air, and not believe that there's some sort of higher, even if you don't want to say higher power, just the universe communicating with us in some form or fashion. Like, you can't not believe that if you love music this way. That's my opinion. This is a good part. Just kept adding and adding and adding. You know, there's a little music box in the background there on the top. But yeah. A good song. It did what I have to do. It did what it have to do. Ooh, okay. That's good. Okay, cool. I might keep it on this one. What's this one called? How do I see what it's called? See you later. Okay, The Filth of Oil. I love the song. That song's weird though. I almost see it as like krautrock. Like I was heavy into Can around this time. I have an unreleased song that's like 8 minutes long and it's total Can worship. What's it called? I named the instrumental is called Tin. But yeah, I love the bass line here, and I adore the guitar here. It's smooth, something smooth about it. Yeah, what the song is about, I don't know. Just oil barons. I was just thinking about like this sort of like Russian, not like a current day Russian, but just like a Tetris, Tetris Russian, like a Onion Dome Russian type of suits and funny mustache dudes that look like what's that one president? Teddy Roosevelt? No. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt, who is Teddy, right? Yeah. Goodness me, I need to go back to school. Yeah, just guys that look like Teddy. There he is, right there. Um, wearing those suits and monocles and mustaches with the slick down hair, who are just profiting off of oil all day and night. Rotating with Dead-Eyed Men. That was a dream I had, or maybe a nightmare, where I just saw this like big monolith, and it was like rotating and it had all these faces of like old people on it. It's weird. Yeah, it's just a nice, cool little psychedelic part. I don't really have too many things like this in my discography. I keep saying that too, but I just appreciate what I do. So much outdoor noise. Yeah, that on the drums. I love how sort of out of time it is. It's sort of hard to predict in a way. So I'm just looking for things to say. Yeah, I'm having a good time with this visualizer. Anyway, Piercing Roots. Okay, this is maybe the only like positive song on the album. I don't know where it came from. Just sort of this idea of just like, oh, and originally this instrumental had right after this clean guitar part, but before the vocals, there was this like heavy metal breakdown. It was like do 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 with the distorted guitars and everything. But I was like, this does not. And then it went straight into the scared of trees. Did not fit at all. So I got rid of it. But I do have that version somewhere. Yeah, it was that do 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 do, but full with like the drums going and everything. But had to be a producer. Get rid of it for the sake of the song. I think we were getting the tree in the front yard removed around this time, maybe. I don't know. I guess this song sort of like, I don't know, I'm not gonna try to link it to COVID 3 years before COVID, but it makes me think of that type of stuff. And just in general, the political discourse nowadays is like, just to go outside, just get off the phone, get off the TV, just go hang out at the park. And like people are still living, people are still alive, people are still doing their thing. And here I was dissing Elon before it was cool to. So now everyone hates Elon, but I was in 2017, I was way ahead of the curve. I still think to this day heading to Mars is a very cowardly display. I believe this was our planet to both use and to cherish and to appreciate and to enjoy. And there's genuinely nothing on Mars or anywhere else for us. And shooting who knows how much resources, fuel and steel and whatever else to go get lost on Mars and get burnt up in the atmosphere or whatever that we could have been using for something else, or just this and that. Stuff that the planet's never going to regrow, stuff that we're never going to have again. It's like, why bother? Just run away from all of our problems. We have politics and global warming and economy and this and that, and just ourselves to figure out, and you want to go head over to Mars and just spread the disease that we have. Sure. Depressed dogs because of us. Yeah. Animals in the wild do not have the opportunity to get depressed because they're busy attempting to live every second of the day. And then animals become our pets, and then we leave them at home all day, and then they get depressed, and it's like maybe they should have. I'm not advocating against pets. I love pets, but something to think about. Anyway, don't worry about summer. Another song about the same girl. Goodness me. And I see it kind of like a Moonlight Sonata. I believe it was that. I bet I'm gonna lose all my cred. Beethoven did Moonlight Sonata, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah, he wrote it for this lady Giulietta, and never ended up with her. Isn't that disgusting? Moonlight Sonata, and it didn't work. So anyway, this song, this one's another just sort of lonely song. There's lonely song coming up, but just sort of just me wishing things were different and being lonely. And this whole thing, don't look at me on the camera, I stood around the store for hours. That's a true story where I was texting her and I wanted to make her a little something, a little gift that I never got to give her. And I asked her what her favorite color was, and it took her like an hour and a half to reply. And I already knew what it was. I was just double checking, and I stood in that store just walking around that whole time waiting for her to respond. Isn't that awful? And I like dogs because they look right at me. That's, I guess, me sort of tapping right into a sort of like an Eckhart Tolle thing before I knew what that was. Just stillness. And I love this part. See, none of this happened, and it sort of turns her into almost like more of a motherly figure than a romantic one. I should write more songs with like that, with the guitar, with the delay like that, sort of the gated delay. This is one of them little moments in a song that, you put in to make people think that you know what you're doing. But I had fun making it. And it's not too bad. But yeah, I love this. I love all these songs. I'm just I'm just talking. I just remembered I had a hard time recording this last part because I just couldn't hold that note. It's too shaky. That's a bit too suspicious. Did I use auto-tune? I was not using auto-tune back then. I don't know. It's a little too straight, that line. Yeah, I never saw her. I guess I was never done with all this. Now I'm in a new relationship, so it's moot anyway. But yeah. Ancient Aims, Fear of the Future. Ancient Aims is just an instrumental I put together, and then I made Fear of the Future like the next day. And I keep all my music that I make in chronological order. So I listened to a lot of it, and I just sort of listened to all of it in order, and I was like, these two work together nicely. But yeah, this is all guitar. It's just me playing with just hitting random notes and chords on the guitar, and I had this crazy delay I found in Guitar Rig going. I just recorded all of it, and then I just chopped it all up, rearranged it, and you have Ancient Aims. And then Fear of the Future coming up is all again, another song like Bismuth that's tuned differently. It's not 440. It's like even lower. I think it's like 412 or something weird. It might be 412. The A is tuned to 412 instead of 440. Which again, I don't know how I came to that one or why, but As far as what the song is about, looking at the lyrics right now, and I don't know. It's not about anything. But I guess the instrumental's kind of like that too. Just a real scattershot. Here's this. It's a weird sound, and I don't exactly remember. Oh, I do remember what it is. It's a synth that I put a bunch of reverb on. I'm clicking two picks together right now. Okay. Had to just get immersed in it. Yeah, this whole song is just random. Like that was just a random thing that I wrote in my notes, and now it's there in the song. Anything but brown eyes. I have brown eyes. No offense to brown eyes, but I've always preferred something else. Yeah, you could definitely tell this is just random things, but it all came together in a way that I approve of. I had a hard time with this choir of myself too, but it works. I really wanted it to be like a ridiculous flex, to have like two different, like that chord progression and the synth going, but also a different chord progression going with the choir. That's more. That's a comment on the song itself. Things keep changing with no warning. Why? Again, I have to be careful with the things that I say in these songs. Get in a relationship just for all the problems we'll have. I actually don't remember what that line means, but I forgot to mention the drums in that part. I love that. I remember being so proud of that, especially when I did the little with the filter. Very interesting vocal performance here. I don't really know if I'm capable, but I wrote like I was, and I just had to go for it. I can see the end of Family Unit, another right-wing dog whistle. I was young. If only I knew how the future would turn out. Things have been interesting, but they've also been the exact same. Man, it is hot. Let's drink some water. I appreciate the synth of the first part coming back. Every time I hear this song, including right now, you need to sit up straight. I just did. Got it. Thank you. The worst thing about all these lyrics and looking at them and knowing how life has turned out since then is that I do not listen to myself at all. I just be writing things and I'll perform them. I'll perform my heart out, and I don't live up to any of it. I gave up and I died. I didn't stay here. I didn't win the fight. That's true though. All your mistakes are punished. Pain means you are close to regret. That doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, I appreciate how that sounded. It didn't sound bad. New preset. Ooh. Let's get a more selfish animal type of color. That's it? Ooh. This song is one of my all-time favorites. Turn it up a little bit. Those samples are from... I'll talk about the lyrics real quick. I have more to say about the production this time. Oh, this sound is... That little prink. That was the sound of a Android TV box my dad was having me program to get free shows and movies on. And it had a little camera built in. And I just recorded something on it. And that sound was the sound a TV made. Overall, this song, it was a bunch of stuff, just random stuff, but eventually it turned into sort of a tribute song to my first ex, Mia, who appears slightly on Washed Out, even though that song's not about her. It's sort of there it is right there. I'm at Mia's house. Just sort of, this song is, before I knew anything about fourth dimensional whatever, this song is sort of like forgetting where I am and what time it is, what day it is, what year it is, what age am I, and sort of flashing back to those memories and not knowing if they're memories or if they're happening now or this and that. And just cables, there'll always be something connecting. Whether it's me and her or just me and anyone else or anyone with anyone else, there's always some sort of cable, even if it's flung invisibly through the air. There's always some connection we all have. Maybe it's just being human. But yeah, this song used to be a lot longer. I shortened it down, but I like how long it is. But all of the sounds, these, it's from I think a French radio, a shortwave radio broadcast that I found, because I found this app, this website where you can just listen to shortwave radio, and it made that noise and all those noises and everything. And the website had a record button, so I just hit record and I switched a bunch of channels and I found a bunch of stuff, and that was some French lady going, It's like two ladies were talking, one kept talking and the other one was just, I was like, she sounds bored. And then I made it into a song. Anyway, Poor Rockets. Another favorite of mine. I was just listening to the Devin Townsend Key commentary podcast that he did. And that album is very, it's like a quiet metal. He said it's the quietest heavy metal album ever, because most of the time it's like heavy metal riffs, but on clean guitars. And I didn't realize until I heard that right now that that's pretty much what this song is, and that it's a very heavy metal song, but all the guitars are clean. Open B tuning, which is the Devin Townsend tuning. And that scream right there is from high school, one of my older songs. I just thought it'd fit. Yeah. This is a good headbanger. It's got a good rhythm to it. I love this imagery here. Some boneless man made of this weird jelly that collects, there's putty that you put on the concrete and it just absorbs chalk. That's what I was thinking about. But yeah, most of the song is just stuff. I don't know, rocket fluffer. I guess there's this feeling of just panic and paranoia Well, any war can break out anytime. Any missile can be dropped. Any nuke, whatever. So this song's just about that mostly, I think. Like I didn't write it. Don't trust nobody, especially yourself. Always keep yourself guessing. Here's a good scream coming up, two of them layered on top of each other. I don't know if I could do that anymore. Yeah, this is more of just Trump stuff a little bit. You want to be upset. Yeah, that sums up my whole artistic journey. Lust for beauty, but pain's amazing. Not that the Bible is necessarily the one and only way, but yeah, people tend to just disregard things that they never know might actually have a good impact on them, me included. But this whole thing is also another big Devin Townsend, especially key thing, because this is the arpeggios here are the exact same shapes that he plays all over his albums that I was playing along with back in high school all the time. But yeah, this part makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. It's very sophisticated, especially with the piano and the bass and the voice following the bass. It's a super classy part. I love this. And I remember recording it because I needed to know, even if no one else ever knew, I needed to know that I did it all one take. I didn't copy paste. I didn't, punch in. That's the word. Let's go to our next. Ooh, change the color. Yeah, I need these oranges sort of tones to match the art. Why is it green in the middle? Okay, well, Selfish Animal. This is the main one, the big one. This is like this. What you're hearing now came to me in the shower. Dun, 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 or this part. Dun, 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 dun. Like I knew, like it has to sound like Children of God era swans. It had to. Yeah. Thought gets in my way. Again, another Eckhart Tolle type of thing that I realized on my own before reading Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, that piano there was there to help me write the vocals, but I realized it sounds good, so I left it. Usually I mute it. Very nihilistic song. I wish I knew how to growl better, because this would have been real crazy if I was doing some Opeth type growls or something. This is one of the only songs in my whole catalog where I do that sort of fry screaming that I was doing wrong. Here's that bar again from Bismuth. Bar's been running but never away. Or so I say. See, that scares me. I'm 27. I've every day of my 30, when I turn 30, every single day I would spend suffering. No, not suffering, just like paranoid. I'm gonna live to at least 80. At least. But that is a very provocative line there. Die of old age at 30 in perfect health. So I can appreciate that about it. And then here's me sort of, this whole thing's kind of a Swans song, but this is going from Children of God to like Cop filth. Mostly Cop, I think. Even though Cop, I don't listen to Cop that often. especially compared to Filth. But yeah, that's what this whole thing is. And that's the same weird delay sound from Trillion Faces that I thought just was cool. Put it back in there again. I had to make sure when I was recording the guitar and the bass, I had to be standing up and I had to be as violent as possible. I was like punching the guitar constantly, which makes good sounds, especially if you hit a harmonic and then you punch the guitar, it makes it jump. It's cool. There's another reference coming up to a tank tops and maybe some other things that I may or may not be inclined to. Some certain things about me. We all have our vices. There, I'm punching it. Yeah, you can hear it jump there. Yeah. Which again, I never did that. I never did pills. But, you know, gotta play a little character. My problem stems from opposite. Is that like a reference to women, maybe? Better not be. Yeah, I love that song, but goodness me. And the next, Lonely Song, right? Yeah. This one I wanted to represent. I wanted it to sound like just me sitting at home in my room by myself. Just me, my one voice, my one guitar, and a drum machine, which I did have a drum machine for a long time, a Boss DR660. Even though I didn't use the 660 sounds here, I do have the 660 sounds on my computer that I use a lot, but I still want it just to be just one drum kit, sort of playing the same thing, even though it changes a little bit. But yeah, this song is just me sitting around, not doing anything, just, yeah. That's a reference to something. I didn't talk about it in the, was it Don't Worry About Summer? Where I said, I like dogs because they look right at me. We had a dog at the time before my cousin took her. the same dog that shows up in the Make 'Em Care music video that we'll look at in that commentary. We're going to look at the videos too. But I just noticed when I would go out to like give her water or feed her, like I accessed that sort of, what would Eckhart Tolle call it? Just the stillness, hanging out with the dog. Just no thoughts, just vibes. And I appreciated that. I didn't really understand it or know that it was something that I could find within myself. Something I'm still figuring out, but yeah. It's a very Eastern sounding song. I might have accidentally tapped into my System of a Down lineage. And I wanted to use my favorite synths here at the end. So I adore Mellotron strings. So there's Mellotron strings, and I adore the keyboard, the synth going, whatever that is, I forget. It's the piano space built into the Contact Factory library. I adore that sound. It's the same one from Tunnel. So I just wanted to have all my favorite stuff here. I do that sometimes. And just asking myself, like, what is it that I want in this life? I'm running out of time to pick. I gotta pick something. And do I have to pick? Why can I only have one? Do I only need to have one? This song makes me so upset. Change that. Ooh. Yeah. Man, this video is gonna be like 10 gigabytes. Um, that synth, the sample, the music box was a sample that I wrote, and then I chopped it up. It was originally supposed to be like a mainstream type of song. I was just trying to see if I could make a mainstream type of instrumental, but eventually I took that music box out, I chopped it up, and I made this with it. I think the lyrics are pretty self-explanatory. I was having issues at home. I was being, I don't know, I don't want to make anyone who might hear about this upset that, that live here or know what happened, but I was not a huge fan of how my little brother was being parented. And one night I had a dream where his parents, well, my dad and my stepmom had to, they asked me to, it was a world where like you could euthanize your child freely anytime if you just were like, you know what, I don't want a kid anymore, give him a shot, it's over. And that was the world my dream took place in. And I wanted, or I didn't, what am I talking about? My parents asked me, hey, sorry, we're busy, can you give him the shot? And I was like, what? And eventually I had to give him the shot, the euthanasia shot, and then I tucked him into bed, and then I went back to my room, and then he came into my room and he said, hey, you forgot to say goodnight. Because the shot hadn't kicked in yet, I guess. So I get just a very, very upsetting. Oh, and here's the exploding head syndrome again, just to represent that was a dream. I was trying to drain. But yeah, this makes me so mad. That whole dream, and then the fact that I made a song about it. But I did express that, I think, in that song. That song exists, and it exists forever. Anyway, Drain. This song comes from 2015, one of the most depressed moments of my life. And the instrumental is the exact same, even though the length of it is the exact same. I added nothing. I changed nothing. I took out nothing. That first part is the exact same lyrically, but everything else is new. Like there's me just talking about, here's all my abstract lyricism. These words have zero meaning. I'm not talking about nothing. I'm just hiding from being super honest. I don't know what I want, repeating like broken record. I flow a couple of times on this song though. This song is suspiciously similar to Collapse and Appear by Lil Ugly Mane? But the original version I made, it's like they have the same exact structure, like starting and ending with like weird noise, and then just sort of having just this one synth that repeats over and over again for the whole song, and it's just rapping with no real chorus or anything. They're very similar to me, but I did write mine like a month before that came out. I checked. I remember hearing it and being like, this is similar. So again, get your ideas out there because someone else is gonna do it. We don't own our ideas, they're just floating in the air. But yeah, this song, it's just so much for so long. It's just me talking about everything. Like this is everything that's been going on. Everything I was thinking and trying to be more upfront about it instead of being poetic and abstract. Yeah, a lot of love, many issues of the heart around this time. But This is definitely one of the most sober songs I've ever written. There's, I just remembered my therapist, the last time I saw him actually, he told me he's from Georgia, I think. He told me he listened to some of my music. He didn't say what, but he said, I'm as honest and vulnerable with my emotions as someone from Los Angeles possibly could be. And he didn't explain what that meant, but as I've been thinking about it, I feel like the hiding behind imagery, hiding behind metaphor, and just poetic license, I think is what he was talking about. In that, I'm very, very hesitant to just say, hey, I feel bad. I feel good. So instead I say, whatever I be saying. All abstract and weird. Also that rather be sad, rather be murdered so I won't die alone. I feel like that SZA song, what, Kill Bill, is a very similar lyric. So yeah, I just get your ideas out there. Someone else is gonna do it later. Not that it's the exact same idea, but similar. Close enough. I'm probably not the first to say it either. Ooh. But yeah. If I want to break out of being California honest, being Los Angeles honest, I have to just be able to break past the artistry and just be so straight up that there's no room for any sort of misinterpretation. But yeah, Abandon You, A Desperate Prayer. I added a desperate prayer at the end, like last minute. It was just called Abandon You, but I just decided to put that there. I don't know why. I just had the feeling to. I get sick on the swings. That was a true thing. Pokemon Go came out, and I was hanging out with my friends. We were at a park, and I was playing on the swings. It's been a long time since I'd been on the swings, and I started getting motion sick. I get motion sick sometimes. I can't really go on roller coasters or anything, but I got motion sick just going back and forth on the swings. That's how I knew my childhood was over. But yeah, this is because I'm not, as of recording, I'm still not successful. I still live with my dad. I still don't know if my fears in this song will come true or not. I don't know if I'll be successful, but I'll just end up being in a dark room anyway. Takes 10 men to push boulder. I sent this song to Mia a little bit after I finished it, the first draft at least, and I sent it to her. It was the first time I talked to her in like a couple years, and I sent it to her, and I did not realize at all. She was like, "This is great. I'm really proud of you. You're so talented. The mix is great. Are you okay?" And I didn't realize, I just didn't think like, oh yeah, I'm saying some horrific things in here. I did not realize that at all. I guess this song sort of breaks out of that California honesty, if we're gonna use that as a phrase now. This whole instrumental was just, I told myself one day, I'm gonna make a Tool song. I love Lateralis. Is that how you say it? I don't think I've ever said that out loud before. I love Lateralis. Lateralis? I adore that album to death, and I just wanted to make a song like that. So that's sort of why it's very bass led with like a sort of a chorusy bass sound and time signatures, this and that. But yeah, this whole part still scares me to this day. The I'll move far away, electrician man, marry first girl I can. That was who you are. I hate this part. I love this part, but because it's still, in a way, it still scares me, and it's still like a possibility. Unfortunately. Well, it's not a possibility. I can do anything I want in this life. Drums are very loud here. Yeah. This is the bad ending. This is the hero has fallen timeline. who did I want to be? And this part, I love this. Even though my voice wasn't really able to do it as well as I would have liked to, it's still a great melody. Still great lyrics. This whole thing of abandoning you, it comes from how I had a lot of really good friends in high school, and then I just sort of deleted all my social media and I stopped responding in the group chats, and I moved away, and just real sudden, and just being stupid and emotional. And I still haven't really repaired any of that. And that's sort of what this song is partly about. Just abandoned, and as I say at the end, I get it from the grandpa I never met, and I have a grandpa that ran out on my mom, so I don't know him, she don't know him. So I just figured maybe it's in my blood to just run away forever. But no, I can reject that. I don't have to accept that. I guess as we get to the grand climax, I have to say that this is the only song of mine that ever made me... I definitely have a couple songs that made me sort of tear up a little bit or get a little choked up. This is the only song that made me full on have a full ugly cry breakdown. I was listening to it in my car, and then when it gets to the climax coming up, when does it end? I'm so tired. Why am I doing this to me? That just completely upset me, and it was like 2019 when this happened. I just completely lost it because it's all true. It's just why can't I make any progress? Why am I still here? This was written 2017. The breakdown was 2019. Here I'm in 2024, same exact place. Nothing has changed. And I just hope that I know I will. I have to make it out. Here it is. So upsetting. Self-fulfilling prophecy, hopefully not. A cycle I know I can break. I have to. I'd rather be dead. Yeah, I got a daughter, but she must be my daughter. How else would I care for someone I do not know? It's just talking to girls, I guess. Pure evil is absence, which I've seen other people sort of agree with. That's true too. I don't leave the house. I don't do nothing. Man, I've been upset by this. My mood, my energy, my mood is shattered. Man. Excellent song, excellent album. That went fast. But man, you could hear it in my voice. That upset me. Man, it's unfortunate. This is a neat little thing to look at. I'm glad I decided to get it. Milk drop. Oh, that was Selfish Animal. Next is Margot. Margot and Selfish Animal are written at the same time, made at the same time, and just Margot is the good stuff. Selfish Animal is the leftovers. Displaced is the leftovers of Selfish Animal. Leftovers, the leftovers. Yeah, I don't really have any other sort of closing thoughts other than, I guess, when you don't be like me, when you successfully identify patterns that aren't serving you, lifestyle choices that aren't serving you, it's not enough to just, and I think I said this in Gold Shadows, it's not enough to be able to name it. You have to then truly and honestly put in the work to break out of those patterns and break out of that life. I know that it's possible. I know it. It has to be. It's just, as of now, this is listening to the stuff from 7 years ago. and nothing's changed is it's hard for me, but it's my path in life. And the fact that you're listening to this means that I changed, and I made that change, and I made those risks, and I made those actions, and I'm somewhere. I'm finally somewhere I want to be. So don't be me. If you find a problem with yourself, solve it. You can solve it. Don't just name it and then think that's going to do something. Well, yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening to all this. And what was that? Yeah, Margot next. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm going to go cheer myself up now. How? I don't know, but I'll figure it out soon. Later. Have a good one.